Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about something that is oddly going on in our country that but it's really, I have to say, unnoticed. I don't think people are understanding the depth and the amount of homelessness in our country right now. So my question is, have you guys ever been homeless, near homeless, thought you were going to be homeless? And if so, how did that make you feel? Now, I myself have never really been homeless. I have been without a home, though, if that makes sense, but I've never been on the street. So I was without a house for a period of maybe 3 months, but I stayed in a hotel. And uh, there was a couple of times after that where I was dang near homeless. Like, I had to move from where I was, but we hurry up and found another place. Thank God something came available. But the one time that something didn't become available, we actually lived out of our car at a campground. And so we had a nice size, I think it was called an SUV um, at the time. And my kids were little. And when I say they were little, they were 4 or 5. Um, the boys were 4 or 5. The girls were probably 7, 8. My oldest was like 12, 13. I think the oldest one kind of knew what was going on, but not really. So what we did was we were looking at being evicted. Our landlord was being a butt. So we just kind of picked up and moved. And we gathered up some stuff, left the house, went and stayed at a campground for about a week. The kids thought we were on vacation, and we didn't tell them any different. I mean, me and my husband didn't sit there and treat them like crap and act like buttholes. We literally took that time to clear our minds. We took the boys fishing, we took the girls fishing, we um, did a little bit of picnicking. We went to the grocery store and got some sandwich meat and stuff. Again, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time now, I've been here, I think, since January ish. My kids are all now grown, so let's not call DFS on me. And I have the need to throw that disclaimer out there because I know there's some fly by night Karen watching this channel that's going to go, oh my God, she's on the internet and her kids were homeless. Yes, they were. They were 20 years ago. It was a thing. But anybody that knows me now knows that my oldest is 34 with children of her own and married. Um, my sons are soon to be 22, one is 23, and yeah, so if you call DFS, they're going to show up disappointed because I don't have any kids to offer. Anyway, that being said, that little disclaimer there, guys. Um, that being said, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think a lot of people that go through these ordeals don't really stand out. I know for a fact we went out of our way to not stand out. However, I've talked about this before. Um, I don't really like to I'm not going to tell the emotional side of it because I'm not one that really likes to cry on the internet. But here's the thing, we stayed at a campground and we lived in a time and an era, like I said, you're talking almost 20 years ago. That being said, um, it was a different time, a different era, a different before COVID and before uh, stupidity ran amok in our country, and people helped each other. People looked out for each other. And when I tell you, I had people that were just God sent. They had to be because people helped us um, with gas, with food, with things that we leaving our house didn't think we were going to need because we weren't planning on being gone as long as we actually were. But because we had the help of these people, we were able to stay at this campground for about a week because of the love and trust of people. And what happened was I really didn't have any money, and I had a I had a lady at the campground tell us about the pastor. So we went and talked to the pastor. Great, phenomenal man. He brought us into his house, fed us, took my husband to gas up our car, and we went back to the campground. And this man vouched for us like he knew us. And the lady at the campground went along with it because she knew that man didn't know us and she knew we didn't know him. And she knew this because, nobody ever lied about anything. He never said he knew us. Here's what happened. She told us to go over to him to get help because the town we were in, we weren't even from. We were 3 hours from where we lived. And we kind of broke it down a little bit to the lady at the campground what was going on. And thank God she was the owner of this place. And so we broke it down to her what was going on with our housing situation. And needless to say, we were on Section 8 at the time. So we were having landlord issues along with governmental guideline issues. And uh, I broke it down to her. She sent us over to the pastor. Pastor comes back with us to the campground. Goes, look, I, I don't see these people being bad people talking about us. He said, I'm going to vouch for them. I believe they're really good people, and I believe they're going to do what they say. So, needless to say, all that being said was we got to stay at this campground, and I'm not going to use anybody's name, though I truly remember it like it was yesterday because this event changed my life. When I tell you it changed how I feel about people, it changed how I am towards people. This, as Dr. Phil likes to say, this event and those people wrote on the slate of my life of the person I am today. Anyway, again, I don't want to get emotional, but the problem I was having was we had no money. And at the time, I was getting a third check. And I let the lady know, I'm like, as soon as I get that check, then I will pay you for letting us stay here for the week. And I truly appreciate it. And see, the whole thing in a nutshell was this this campground was perfect because the weather outside was perfect. Um, we had access to a little slot where we threw a tent, and there was a grill there. There was like a barbecue pit. There was a outside barbecue pit. There was a picnic table. There was a pole with a couple of outlets on it so we could charge our stuff. And there was bathrooms, there was restrooms, and there were showers. And they cost nothing if you were staying on the site. And so, because we were staying on the site, So, my check was direct deposited, and the day we got my check, we squared up, and I left the lady $100 tip. And when I tell you $20 or 20 years ago, $100 was $100, and I feel like that $100, I don't ever sit back and go, man, I should have kept that hundred. Nah, I wish I would have had more to give them people, because what they gave me was a life altering look on life, a life altering heart for people, a life altering understanding of people being in a moment's notice in a hard situation. And so when I tell you, there are some people I look at and I completely understand what happened, why it happened, and then I'm down to clown as far as helping you goes, and I will be there for you. I'm with it. Let's do it. And then there are some people I look at and I'm like, "Mm-mm. Your choices." Here's the thing: you have to really discern who, what, when, and where. And I'm a Christian person, so if y'all have been paying any attention to my videos and my posted still pictures, I'm a full blown, God loving Christian. Okay? That being said, if the Holy Spirit doesn't move me to help somebody, I'm not going to, because a lot of times your consequences are a lesson to the actions you took. Now, sometimes the things that happen to you are truly beyond your control because Satan is busy and things happen around you that are out of your control. And I understand that. But I also understand that there are sometimes people make life choices that end them up where they're at, and that's their consequences. And that being said, sometimes you just have to let the Holy Spirit tell you, look, help this person, leave that person alone. They're in the middle of learning a lesson. Okay, no problem. You know, no problem. I have no problem. My heart goes out to you. Hopefully, you will learn that lesson and make a comeback. And I'm not saying by any means that anybody being homeless is a consequence of God putting you there. No, you being homeless is a consequence of one of two things. You had a really crap landlord who did things they shouldn't have done, and so that fell on you, and that was not your fault, and or your own choices landed you where you are in life right now, and that's you're in one of those two situations, and that's what happened to us. Our situation was we were at because we were on Section 8. We're no longer on Section 8. Haven't been in 20 years, and I see what's going on with Section 8 now. I've had a whole video about that one. So when I tell you, been there, done that, been there, done that. But again, our situation was uh, both. It was our choices, but it was also our landlord, and so we were at the mercy of the Section 8 BS. And it came down to our landlord just didn't want to deal with not us, but the Section 8 crap. He was not getting his allotted rent stipend every month. He was not. The Section 8 people would come out and tell him this ain't up to code, that ain't up to code, but yet it was okay for us to live there. And so he, because we were already established in the residence, he couldn't legally kick us out because the issue that they were having wasn't with us. The issue he was having was with the Section 8 board, but the problem was we were the tenants caught in the middle. And so what it was coming down to was he wasn't getting his money, but he couldn't kick us out, and he couldn't make his payments, so he's looking at losing the house where we were going to be put out anyway. So it's like, no matter what happened, we were going to be in the middle of this crap. So that being said, we, me and my husband were young. Okay, you're talking 30 years ago. We were damn near our kids' age, the age our kids are now. Like, I believe I was 25. I might have been 27. I think I was like 27, and my husband was like 24. And so we were young and stupid, okay? And we kind of hit that fight or flight, and we grabbed what we could out of the house and just kind of booked on out of there. We really had no intention of looking back, but a week into it, I got my check, and we paid the campground for the week that we were there, and I was gonna pay it for another week because we just thought we'd stay there and hang out, and life was great, and van life and hippie life, USA. None of our kids were in school at the time because the boys were little, and the girls were homeschooled, so they weren't in school at that point, and so life was great. I mean, because we had their workbooks in the car, so and we always carried their book sacks with them. I mean, even if we went to the grocery store, they were just odd like that. They carried their book sack, which I didn't care. I think because they didn't go to public school, it made them feel good to tote the book sack around. Anyway, so they were at the campground, sitting in the beautiful outdoors, working in their workbooks, and life was good. I mean, when I tell you, I was too happy to be there. The campground was beautiful. Um, life was simple at that campground. I was ready to be there. Well, the following Monday, we get a call from the Section 8 people who say, look, go back to the house. Everything's good. Your landlord got paid. We're like, okay. We talked to the campground people. I took $100 bill, put it in a book that I had, and gave it to the lady. And I told her that there was something I wanted her to see, and that was in the book. But wait until I leave because I wanted her to take a minute to see it. And I did it like that because I wanted her to think that she was going to read something. And so I left, and I left her $100 tip, which basically it was $75 a week to stay at the campground. So I paid her basically for an extra week that we didn't stay because we ended up going back. But I mean, there are times, like I said, I've been homeless. There was the 2.5 months we stayed in the hotel room that we actually were without a house, and then there was that time where we had a house but left it because of the Section 8 landlord crap that was going on. So, I mean, yeah, been there, done that. I've done the welfare, done the food stamps, done the homeless, done and it's not fun. And I tell you, the best day of my life was getting off Section 8. Was my husband said, look, the job I got now is good, it's secure, the money's great, and back then the money was great. And we were like, okay, okay. We took the keys to the Section 8 house that we were in, and we took them up to the housing place that we were at, gave them the keys, and good luck. And thanks for all you did for us. through the heartache and the tears, and we're done. And the lady looked at me, looked at my husband, and I'll never forget this. When I tell you this was like 20 something years ago, she looked at him, looked at me, and said, "You'll be back." When she said that, I looked at my husband, turned around, walked out the door, and as he came up behind me, I said, "Ain't no way in hell. I'll go live under a damn bridge before I ever give that twit witch twat waffle the pleasure of knowing or thinking that I ever meet her again." And see, that kind of motivation kept us from never ever coming close to being home with each other. And so that is a good night chronicles that you can't pay good money for. But anyway, that's my story, guys. Have you guys ever been through it? All right, I'm gonna wrap this one up with I love you with the love of the Lord, and thanks for stopping by. That's my story in 20 minutes or barely more. I was gonna say less, but it's a little bit more. Anyway, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, however you want to do it to it. I love you guys, and look, if you ever want to meet my big brother Jesus, drop me a comment or find me on Facebook. I only believe in one. All right, guys. Peace.